Hey everybody, welcome back. It's a new day, it's a new dawn, and I'm feeling good, but we're gonna run it back as the Forgotten today. Just because I'm perhaps learning, finally, in my advanced age. Oh my god, that it's so freaking loud. What have I done? What the heck happened last night, man? My left arrow key is sticky. I get it. Okay, I get it. I'm hip. I'm with it. Make your jokes. Okay, then keep your secrets. I feel like I'm in the middle of Lit's magnum opus. You know, the car is in the front yard and the left arrow key is sticky. I came in through the... I'm playing it in windowed mode and you're gone. Okay, hold on. Like, this is... It's wild, right? So I'm actually like I hate to become a hater. I don't see myself as a hater in general. I wouldn't say I necessarily see myself on the opposite side of the spectrum. But I don't, just criticize for no reason. Usually it's just for a bad reason. I feel personally very slightly attacked or criticized, and as a result I bring out the rhetorical nuclear weapons to dissuade it from ever happening again. It's a deterrent, I suppose. The number one thing, this is fully honest, that I think Repentance does wrong, and I'm not doing, this is not clickbait. I think there was no reason to change the mechanics of rerolls. I kind of feel like I don't want to say I'm responsible, but like as perhaps one of the loudest voices in favor of rerolling constantly, I mean, I absolutely did say things like it's the most overpowered mechanic in the game, but like nobody else was doing it. I shouldn't say nobody else, but like, the negatives about rerolling were counterbalanced by the fact that there was so much risk involved with it as well. There's not a lot of risk if you can get like 2 rerolls in very quick succession, but if you have like 1 reroll and you're like, oh, let's send it, and then it becomes, something like Ipecac Mom's Night, or not Ipecac Mom's Night, but Ipecac My Reflection. That's where that risk kind of counterbalances the fact that it's super strong and all you have to do is reroll forever. So like the nerfs to rerolling where like your HP doesn't actually reroll, I genuinely think are anti-Zane. So what I'm going to do, I'm glad we just got Vibrant Bulb. You can be mad. You know that tweet that was like, be mad, don't care, and then when people were mad, they cared? I'm not like that. Like, be mad. I do care, but also I think I'm doing a good job of explaining myself, to an extent at least. I just genuinely think it's like, it's almost turned the D100 into like, this is too far, but into something like Data Miner, or even the D8 maybe is a good way to describe it. Like, it shuffles around your run a little bit, but I think it actually has like a volatility decay associated with it. Like, the more you reroll, you do get a chance to get new stuff that could be incredible, but I think in general, because of what you lose every single time, you tend to trend towards 0 the more you use it. That's not to say it doesn't have a place, if you think you're gonna lose anyway, a reroll is very nice, and I'm actually, in my brain, I'm thinking, maybe there's a new way to use this item. Like, we could maybe just stay on this wave that we're on until we're almost dead, then pull the D100 out, and who knows, right? Like, we're fighting Cuphead, we're about to die, we decide, okay, let's pop it real quick, we get an amazing run with a decent amount of HP, and then we're sitting pretty. I don't know, it could happen. Don't laugh at me, it could happen. Stranger things have happened. 3 times. It's my imitation of the Stranger Things theme song. 2021. I don't know what this does. This is one where I feel like you can definitely just look it up. Birthright. I literally... I mean, it's early in the morning on a Monday here. First, I was off the home row, so I typed, like, Northright, and then I typed Birth Ring, and it was, like, in your area, and I was like, oh, God, get me out. Okay, as forgotten. Oh, my God. Forgotten. The soul is unchained and free to move. It can leave the forgotten behind and leave the room, and switching back teleports to the skeletal body. Okay. So you can become... Like, right now is not a great time for it, but you can just become, basically like a stronger version of the Lost. Okay. And then you can use it to teleport as well. This sounds great. So I'm just leveling with you. I'm gonna play this as, like, the most cowardly Forgotten run you've ever seen. It's not anti-Zane, okay? Trust me, you don't get to choose what makes Zane, okay? I've been living in the Zane mines for a decade. You just pop in whenever it's convenient for you. We are not the same. I think I can afford it, actually. Or bear the cost. I think that my personal opinion is that they screwed up re-rolling a little bit in this one. In Repentance. But it's, you know, I do need to counterbalance that, at least in my opinion. With the idea that I really think Repentance is, like, the definitive piece of Isaac DLC. Like, I think that this is... I need a Spirit Heart to get those. I think it's the best they've ever... It's the best the game has ever been. Full stop. I have, like, 2 complaints. Well, no, that's not true. Some of the bosses, like, on the alt path, I'm like... They're basically, in my opinion, just damage checks. Like, if you don't have the damage to get through them, then, you know, the attacks are unlikely to be dodged. But I'm still in the early phase as well of you know, understanding what they do. Pardon me, so that could change over time. Oh, well, the membership card's just fun, man. So, Soul of the Lost turns you into the Lost for a room. Obviously, like, a Bone Heart for 8 cents is really good value. But I don't know if we actually need it as the Forgotten, just because of the fact that we're gonna get... dude, I can't attack, like, in this direction. I gotta attack in this direction. I gotta clean my keyboard, like, later today. Something got under that left arrow key, man. Anyway, what I was gonna say is we don't need to buy a Bone Heart for 7 cents if we're getting Bone Hearts out of our boss room anyway. You ever get, like, maybe you got a crumb or something under your... I think I fixed it. And I'm going to tell you how. This is called homebrew troubleshooting. You ever get, like, a piece of food, maybe? Or who even knows what it was? Maybe, like, I hate to say it, like a fingernail clipping? You get all sorts of weird stuff in your keyboard, right? If that ever happens to you, you ever just smash the key with your finger, like, as hard as you can, hoping to pulverize it into dust so that it is out of sight, out of mind? Obviously, it doesn't really solve the problem of the detritus being in there, but it does solve the problem, potentially, of it affecting your ability to hit the keycap. Look, it's not... the older I get, and it's taken some time, but the older I get, the neater I get. It's... like, when I was in university, it was like... I wasn't the messiest person on the planet. Like, occasionally you'd go over to your friend's room or something like that, and there would just be, like, empty fast food wrappers and soda cans and stuff on the ground, and you're like, on the ground? Like, at least if you had them, like, on your desk, that's something. But, like, whenever I see, and some people out there watching this are probably like, please stop, like, it's too real, like, I feel attacked right now. When you have garbage on your floor, that's, you have made a conscious decision to put that there. There's a difference. It's like the difference between, like, you know, manslaughter and murder, right? Yes, in the end, someone died. You know, there's no difference there. But there's a difference in the eyes of the law from, like, you know, an omission of duty or committing a negligent act versus, you know, choosing to take out a gun and shoot someone. It's the same thing with the garbage, in my opinion. You know, if you have cups or cans on your desk or something like that, you just haven't Help me. You just haven't taken them out yet to the garbage can. That's not great, but it's not that bad. It's certainly not as bad as the alternative, which, there we go, is, you know, eating something and then being like, I don't really feel like throwing this out right now, so I'm just gonna chuck it on my room's floor. Or alternatively, like maybe as soon if you have so much garbage on your desk that it falls off and then ends up on the floor, please don't phrase that as like, oh, there's nothing I could do. You know, it just fell. Dude, what am I supposed... You got... Every once in a while, you gotta open the garbage can and take your arm like it's one of those, like, coin pusher machines and go... and put all this stuff in there, right? What do we got? Yo, not bad. Not bad at all. So yeah, I'm gonna be a coward, and I'm gonna use D100 as an all-stats upgrade. I apologize, but the older I get, the cleaner I get. Like, I used to, every once in a while, I'd catch an episode of Hoarders, and I would be like, his place is pretty messy. Now I watch, like... you know what? Let me restructure this bit, because I think that there is, there's a funnier way to do it, but also I think it is true. The older I get, the more... I find myself being not offended, but aghast at the state of cleanliness in people's homes, without that being the focus of the show. When I was younger, I would watch Hoarders and be like, yo, this dude's place is pretty messy. Now I'll just watch anything, and I'll be like, you didn't clean your living room before TLC came over? Like, what are you doing? I'm getting better about it. I used to, like... I mean, I do feel the need to point out a couple of things, okay? One is, I was an only child. And I really feel like being an only child, you know, it has pluses and minuses. I think only children tend to be more idiosyncratic than people that have siblings. In general, you know, I'm not gonna say that, but that's like a case, it's universally true. I'm sure there's some extremely normal, boring only children. Maybe I am one of them. But I do also feel like, if you have siblings that are around your age, maybe a little older in particular, your siblings are more likely to kind of clue you in to what the societal norm is, instead of just letting you get into your own habit of how to do things, and then by the time, you know, you start living with other people or being around them on the regular, like you're, I don't want to say too old to change, but you're stuck in your ways a little bit. The other thing is that on top of being like an only child, so I, you know, never had like an older sibling to be like, hey, what are you doing, weirdo? That's not that clean. I also, oh right, we can just fly, man. I also, like, started living alone early in my life. You know, I went to university and lived in the dorms when I was 17, which is not, it's, you know, there's kids that go to... This is just fun. No, never mind. I thought you were... Because I thought it was a wing. I thought you were the soul of Eve and you would just turn into boards, but that's okay. Maybe we save this for the boss, potentially. Not this boss, but like the true ending boss. I don't know. So I started living in the dorms when I was 17. And after that, you know, we moved to off-campus housing with roommates, but like I had my own room. And then like, I'm trying to think, like 4 months after I graduated... maybe 6 months after I graduated from college, I moved to South Korea and, like, was not only living... Might as well do that, I guess. On my own, but I was, like, living untethered from a social life in a foreign country, right? All of that is just to say, I think I missed some of the molding that might smooth out some habits. At that age. We'll probably play that there. What do I mean by that? Well, that was a really, like, roundabout way of me introducing the idea that for probably 2 decades, I brushed my teeth in the room in my house that had a computer in it. So I would always, you know, I would get... I'm not, you know, trying to defend this in the slightest. I would get little toothpaste marks on my computer monitor. I'm sure, you know, some of the people out there are like, that's unconscionable. And some of the people out there are like, looking at their cell phone right now that has the same problem, and they're like, I don't see that it's that big of a deal. I think you're both right. Like, there's really no reason to do it, you know, in front of your computer versus doing it in the bathroom, except for, like, literally you can't stand to not be, like, distracted or entertained for, like, more than 2 seconds. Which I've been guilty of in the past. Okay, hold on. Joker's pretty good. I think I'm just gonna... I'm very... It's boring. But I'm happy with what we have here. So don't shoot the messenger, man. Okay, just be careful. You don't want to lose a bone heart for no reason. But, you know, I used to... I think this is... it's very relatable, you know? I used to have, like, the culture on stream, and also just, like, you know, the discussions that you'd have with, like, friends of yours in person would be about, like, hey, why do you do this thing? And, like, let's get into, like, an argument. Like, a fake argument, but an argument about, like, you know, why it is or isn't the right thing to do. And, you know, I remember my position back that who cares, it's just toothpaste, I'll clean my monitor anyway. It doesn't really matter, you're just jealous because, like, you're shackled by the rules that society told you to play by, and I'm a free thinker, you know, blah, blah, blah. Now, when I get older, I'm like, you know what, you're absolutely right. I think you know, I just... One day, Kate was like, you know, you got a lot of toothpaste stains on your monitor, and I was like, I know, like Adam Sandler from, Uncut Gems. I'm a piece of crap. I'm broken. I'm so effed up. And I just stopped. So I think, like, the older it's now I'm pardon me. I'm starting to get into that mode now. Just making sure we, you know, don't lose this bone heart. Where, like, I like to keep things tidy. Like, if things are not tidy, like my wife might disagree to some extent, but for me, if things are not tidy, I start to get, like, you know, anxious is not the right word necessarily, but more like I don't feel like I can fully relax until the house is, like, you know, in order. Which really, like, I think when I was younger, I would have taken that as, like, a huge negative. Like, oh, you know, you got to learn how to have fun. Now that I'm older, I'm like, young me, this is me talking to young me. Bro, shut up. Like, it literally takes, like, an hour to clean the house. It takes maybe, like, 5 minutes to just, you know, move trash into the proper receptacle. Like, what do you... Your time's not valuable. I am you. My time is way more valuable now. Both on, like, you know, I have domestic obligations as a husband and a father, but also, like, on an employment level. Yeah, bro, you gotta learn to have fun. You gotta learn to have fun, man. When you're playing, like, 8 hours of Civ 4 a day. You're not even good at it. Legitimately, you gotta laugh. There's gonna be someone in the comments that's like, NL, come on. You shouldn't be so rude to the younger version. Yeah, you shut up. No, okay, sorry. I didn't mean... I did mean it, but I don't mean it. Like, when I said that I mean it, what I mean is I don't mean it. We should not do this, by the way, but here I go doing it. Thank you. I'm happy I did it. I'm concerned about our bone hearts, but we're going to get a second secret. We're just not going to take damage. How does that sound? I just feel like we're not going to take damage. Okay, take me in here. Oh, dude, I such incredible plays incoming. You pop this one right off the bat. It's garbage, but at least you don't have to do the rooms. Shot speed up, obviously an incredible get for us. Now remember, do not forget Tainted Skull. I think this is a win. As of right now, this is a win. I'm willing to. I'm still willing to. Anyway, like, look. I don't really care, like, if you wanna... and, dude, that's such a cool interaction with Birthright. Oh, man. I don't really care, like, if you wanna be untidy to the extent that your, like, untidiness doesn't affect anybody else but yourself. I think it's fine, honestly. I'm still like that to some extent, you know? But I've aged out, I think, of the arguments of, like, you know... It really came to a head when I was talking about, like... And I know, you know, some of the people watching this are going to be in this boat, for the record. But it came to a head when people were, like... You know, we got into discussions over, like, the percentage of people that don't wash their hands when they use a public bathroom. Like, what you do at home... doesn't really bother me, like, as long as you maybe wash your hands before you leave your house, but the amount of people who are like, you know, they resort to, like, ad hominem attacks. If you ever are like, you know, why don't you wash your hands? They're like, oh, your stuff downstairs must be nasty, man. It must be nasty. Unlike you, I'm actually clean. You can tell how clean I am by the fact that I don't wash my hands, because it takes 35 seconds, and I can't actually... be bothered to do it. That's how clean I am. But, like, I wash my you-know-what, so I don't have to wash my hands. I'm like, I don't think you wash your you-know-what. Like, first off, that's beside the point, but I think, you know, if you're unwilling to take the 30 seconds to wash your hands after you use the movie theater bathroom, I honestly doubt you're getting every inch in the shower. I think you're doing what most people do, turning on the water, facing the opposite wall so it runs down your back, and then just having, like, hypothetical arguments in your head with, like, your high school bully or whatever. We've all been there. I'm just saying, why are you putting on airs? But everyone turns into, like, a YouTube debate channel if you're like, hey, you know, why don't you just wash your hands? It just takes 30 seconds, you know, kind of in the middle of this, like, pandemic sort of situation here. Why not? And then that even now, like, for a while people were like, that didn't work out too well. But for a while people were like, yeah, you gotta wash your hands during the pandemic. I'll agree with that one. But now that, like, you know, the science seems to be that it's mostly respiratory transmission or air droplets instead of, like, you know, surfaces, people are like, well, now you don't even have to wash your hands anymore, like, because it's just hygiene theater, man. I'm like, just wash your hands, man. I don't know what you're touching down there. You getting all sweaty at the Canucks game because, you know, like, they haven't shot the puck on the power play for, like, 40 seconds, even though you've been yelling shoot, and I know you played, like, junior C hockey, so, like, why isn't Elias Pettersson taking your advice? Like, just wash them, man. That's what it's there for. Sometimes being in a society means you gotta, like, you know, do things for the betterment of the group that you as an individual pay an extremely small cost for. The cost being that, you know, you can't use your phone for 30 seconds while you wash your hands. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's just the arguments about untidiness, you know? Okay, hold on. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You just take, because we're leaving. This run, to me, definitely has a much, much better... Woo! Sorry about that sound. Oh, I've dropped my coaster. That's right, I'm using coasters now. You got a problem, man? You got an issue? Here's a tissue. I think this run, as compared to our last run, this run has, like, a... pardon me, a very, very strong chance to succeed. So we are, this is very lucky, by the way. We are fishing for cards that would be useful in the end game. We do want to see our shop, at least, but... and you don't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be the Chaos card for it to be useful for us. We really just need, like a Devil, Empress, Strength card, or even, like, obviously there's a lot of runes, like the Algiz rune. in particular probably give us a win. Let's see what we got on membership card here, because we... Alright, I'm not disappointed with the way that this has gone. This is not, you know, particularly strong for us, but still. We can always get our game-winning stuff on the way back. Where did I put, Bone Lord? Excuse me, Bone Lord? Okay, thank you. Because he stays still mighty useful, don't get me wrong here. So I think if we don't throw, we should be doing okay. I guess, so, like, I don't think I'm offending anybody on this one. Not any more than I did by taking a little pot shot at Gen Z. In the spirit of humor, by the way, not in the spirit of legitimate generational warfare. We're just, you know, you're cracking, you're calling me a boomer just because I was born in a year that has an 8 in the 3rd digit column. I'm just gonna, you know, we're gonna have a little bit of back and forth. Not in a negative way, in the spirit of camaraderie, in a tradition of sorts. Like that's just such bad damage. I just like, you know, I guess that what it is, Burke, I know, is you know, I take the position that when we didn't have to do that. I take the position that when I have like a bad habit now, I kind of just accept that human beings are imperfect, and it would be a good thing to endeavor to change it. Like when my desk gets dirty, I you know, rather than hit people with, like, you know, they say a person's desk reflects the quality of their mind. So maybe I have a cluttered mind, but your desk is empty. What does that say? Instead of resorting to, like, personal attacks like that, you know, now I'm just like, you're right. I should clean it. Because you all know how the tranquility of a clean desk, right? Anybody look at a clean... Come on, be honest with yourself. You look at your clean desk and be like, this doesn't make me feel good. Ooh, there's not a whole bunch of papers that would take 3 seconds to deal with. Either, like, put them in the recycling or, like, sign them or whatever. Like, oh, now that all that clutter is not there, I don't know what to... Come on. I know we're getting into the point where there's going to be people that are like, well, not me, but I suppose hypothetically in the clinicians' journals there might... Okay, sure. I can't speak to the clinicians' journals, okay? That's not my area of expertise. What am I doing here, by the way? Well, we're just holding it together. I certainly don't... I'm trying to, like, bomb my way out, but we keep accidentally, like, making our life easier. Which is, of course, good. What was I talking about? Oh, I'm trying to, like, not lose too much HP before we get to the boss. Because I do think we have an amazing chance. Certainly better than our last chance. Where I really thought we were pretty much just cursed from the get-go on that one. On this one, I feel like we should be pretty comfortable. Especially, like, we played well on our last beast, or not beast, but dogma fight. We essentially have 2 health bars, and then we also have the D100. I am certainly not relying on the D100 to take us where we need to go. Like, it's possible. It's thinkable, you know? It's not outside of the bounds of reality that we could re-roll our whole run and have it, oh god. Oh, come on, man. We could re-roll our whole run at low amounts of HP and possibly get a confluence of items, because, you know, your HP getting re-rolled is no longer, like, as steady as it used to be, but possibly get a confluence of items worthy of maybe giving it a second chance. We would lose a fairly important stat upgrade in Illuminated Bulb. Like, as this run, you know, much like our last one, is not really spectacular. It's merely, you know, pretty good. And the D7 is not really what we're looking for, unfortunately, but I knew we had left something behind. Oh, by the way, that's not your Windows. I apologize. As is typical, there was a Windows update this weekend, and it reset all of my system preferences for sounds. Because it's like, hey, every time we update, you know how you muted all those alerts that are like, hey, we added like the NBA to Fortnite? We just went ahead and like unmuted those for you because, you know, part of our business model right now is being able to have ads served to you on the desktop and all that. So like, oops, no, we just don't know. Sorry, it's a known issue. We don't know how to fix it. It's like literally a line of code that we just like, at Microsoft, you expect us to figure that out? I don't think so. I'm not trying to rag on Microsoft. If I wind up in a drainage ditch somewhere, you know what happened, okay? They hated him for he spoke the truth. Well, this has not been a productive trip home for us. I will say, I think that I have made a mistake. I thought we would be better off as the Lost and or the Spirit, and we would be worse off as the Bone Lord. I think we've actually got it exactly backwards. Because we would have lost way less HP. Hold on, I have some messages I must check as well. Oh, the messages are good. Nothing urgent. Let's put it that way. Don't hit me. Hey, you, get out of here. Anyway, I haven't bantered too much except about, like, you know. I'm not telling you to clean your room, by the way. I am suggesting, though, if you don't have anything better to do with your time. Like, I don't know if I think you just have to naturally come to these conclusions for yourself. Because the more, like, somebody tries to push you in one of these directions, the more you resist, right? I think if I went back as, like, you know, if time travel existed and I went back to, you know, 2004 and I was like, you know, hey, slugger, it's me, you from the future. What if instead of, like, playing 5 hours of Halo 2 a day, and, like, in 3.5 of those hours, you're actually just, like, mad at the game? Like, you're not even really having that much time. It's just kind of hijacked, like, the reward centers of your brain. What if instead of that, like, you know, learned a skill that would maybe be worthwhile for you? You know, and I don't mean, like, everything in your life has to be productive, but I mean, like, literally just have, like, a hobby, I guess, beyond getting... Like, a gaming is fine. But, like, a hobby beyond just, like, getting mad at the game. Like, feeling compelled to play the game even though it makes you upset during these periods. Like, that was a good hit. I can't be too upset at you for that one. I think my younger self would have been like, you know, suppose hypothetically that I did pursue this. And then, you know, but you shouldn't be giving me advice, future self, because if you gave me advice, I wouldn't become you. Are you happy with your life? If you're happy with your life, then you shouldn't be coming back into the past to tell me how to live my life, because it'll keep me from becoming the version of you that you like so much right now. I think, you know, and the worst part is I would have a point, I think. This is, I'm trying to figure out how to play this one. Definitely we're not taking much damage. There you are. But really, Beyblade me? And I think if we lose, like, a bunch of Spirit Hearts but still live, it's not that big of a deal. Because we'll get some back when we move on to the next phase. It's more that, like, you know, the Spirit's damage is not very good right now. That being said, I must also acknowledge that I don't know if it's the damage that's bad or if I just have a certain degree of impatience. Like, as long as I can dodge well, Rotten Baby will do the trick for us here. As you can see, like, it's working out quite well. So I'm actually really happy with the way that we approached that. That went super well. Let's stay as the spirit for now, and if we transform on the way back, like, I don't know if it'll screw us somehow. Well, he's in the lava? Yep. I think it was worth it to get him, like, to get the bone up, because we're going to use him at some point. Better to have him in a position already where maybe he can block some future shots for us. I think. Never should have been there. This is not quite as miserable as our last run. And you know what? Spider Mod is actually like such an enormous help. It's not just a quality of life item. I think it meaningfully changes the way you play the game to know, you know, when it's worth going in on an enemy to like use aggression to kill him versus like hanging back and being super patient, which, you know, admittedly we probably could have done there, but okay, so like the start of the Pestilence fight, I got no problem giving you a couple smacks just to try to get ahead of the curve. I'll be the first to tell you, you know, I think we've had some runs, there's a certain degree of misery. Not an awful lot of damage on display here. So I think, you know, we gotta own up to that and get involved. Don't forget, you know, the purpose of this, you do want to lose... Well, no, I was going to say you want to lose as little HP as possible, but you really don't. At the risk of being a little too forehead or galaxy brain, the goal of Isaac, you know, is not really to lose as little HP as possible. It's to survive and win the run. If you can do that, like... Doesn't matter whether, you know, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Fast and the Furious. I'm not convinced that this is actually speeding up our damage output at all. I mean, I got a patience problem, but... I will say... A lot of my impatience and the hair trigger that I've had on occasion, especially, you know, since the baby, there's some human understanding to be, you know, dished out there. Pandemics dragging people down, you know, not only my own mental health, especially in the wintertime when it was harder to get outside for any length of time, but also, like, I don't know if it's been noticed, like, en masse, people online are just weirder and ruder right now, I think, because they've, you know, been locked inside for so long. But I will say, having a 2-day weekend is like freaking totally changed it, man. Like stuff, I'm not gonna say I'm like a stoic master or anything like that, but I feel like I got a much better... You're still alive, huh? I got a much better, like, you know, mental resiliency and fortitude for this stuff than I had in, like, let's say February, where... You know, I was not getting as much sleep as I would like, and also, like, simultaneously, pandemic sickness, not like, you know, mental sickness, I should say, was dragging people down. The 2-day weekend is just like, I tweeted it, but, like, on Fridays, I'm like, I can't wait to frickin' get out of the internet for a couple days and just, you know, live in quote-unquote meat space. And then, on Sundays, I'm like, you know what? It's been nice to be in meat space, but I can't wait to get a little bit more recording done now. A little bit more, streaming done now. But anytime I talk about it, I do feel like one of those startup, people who is, like, is self-unaware and ignorant and is like, we've reinvented the concept of a work week. 2 days off for every 5 days on. Nothing like this has ever been done before, you know? I mean, I understand that what shaped the work week is more like, you know, labor laws and less, streamers coming to this conclusion for themselves. Yeah, I dropped a bomb on him. You got a problem? Okay, let's not do that. I have a problem. Help. We should be totally fine. Like, we should still be totally fine. It's just a messy fight because, like, we don't really have very good damage yet again. What the heck is this, man? What's happening? I hate the Forgotten. He's deflecting the bullets, man. I've never seen this. I've played Repentance for like 300 hours. I've never seen... What the heck? We froze him? Alright, well, we're about 60% of the way through the fight. Oh, frick. I know... Well, we'll run it back. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. It was still a great episode. It was just funny. I was like, I gotta switch, but if I switch, I'm gonna lose HP immediately. And then I was like, I'm dead. All right, anyway. My bad. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Appreciate your support. Click the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more episodes. It's Isaac, baby. Twitch.tv/Northern Lion as well. We're live every day but Saturday and Sunday. See you then.